Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. I am your host, Papa Joe, and I am joined with Miss Teen Crypto today. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to
I
be here hanging with you on this fine Monday.
I appreciate you being part of the show. It is for sure a great Monday indeed.
Woo.
Nice and overcast and cool where I'm at. It's been kind of nice change of pace for us. It's been
Yeah,
hot.
same here. Oh, there was a major heat wave in New York. It was like 90, like at 9 a.m. You walk right outside, blazing heat, and then it just rained. So now we're actually in the
It's
70s
hot.
today. I feel like I'm a weather forecaster. We should do like a whole like weather thing. We should have a weather segment. Hi guys, today my name is Misty Crypto, and I'm here with your morning news. Today is 71, cloudy outside with a 20% chance of rain in the next hour. Papa Joe, where is it at by you?
About the same, honestly. It's gonna be thunderstorms this afternoon. It's hot and steamy already, man. You walk outside, it's like you just literally 5 minutes where it's like nothing but humidity. It's just like
Yeah,
crazy
frizzy
stuff.
hair everywhere.
Oh, well, not really.
Not for you.
Oh, fun stuff. So for my listeners, do me a favor and shout out who is Miss Teen Crypto, what got you into crypto, and then we can kind of go from there.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Sorry I
no,
went off a little bit.
no.
For those of you who may not know me, hi, my name is Mistine Crypto. I'm a 19-year-old crypto and NFT speaker, educator based in New York City. I really love crypto. I was introduced to this 6 years ago by my dad. Didn't when I was 13, didn't take note until I was 16, did my first Bitcoin transaction. And I was like, wow, this is going to change the way we transact forever. And I just really dove into this space, got really swept in by the community. I created my Twitter account in April 2020, and that was because I was sad. It was a major lockdown, and I didn't want to be negative anymore. I didn't want to have a negative mindset, and I wanted to do something positive. I wanted to help people, and I felt as though Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, NFTs were the way to do that. So that's why I jumped in and just went head first, started educating, started hitting the streets, doing interviews with people that I don't even know, just strangers that I wanted to talk to. Just going to conferences, doing media appearances like Fox Business, and just trying my best to just spread crypto adoption, doing in-person classes, and just trying to hands-on help people come into this space.
That's fantastic. So you have been on some mainstream media outlets, which has been pretty fantastic, and I'm sure that was pretty fun for you to do, and to
Yeah,
be out there and actually be the voice of reason in this space. As you and I kind of talked about a little bit before the show, like the FUD is real, and
absolutely.
the mainstream media and all that fun stuff. They're trying very hard to cast a shadow in the crypto space, and it's all over the place. We talked about that a little bit as well, and you know, with all the FUD in the space, it's up to us, it's people who have been in this space, and recognizing how to get out there and just really take what they're trying to say is negativity and then turn it around and show them the truth and the light about it. And usually, people can't really deny the power and importance of realistically blockchain technology. But at the end of the day, all the cryptocurrency and whatnot is on top of that.
Yeah, it's insane. The fun is horrible. I'm not really here for it. I've made tons of videos. Whether that's a live stream titled like "Did you touch grass today?" Like, are we going to make it? We are going to make it. This is normal. I mean, especially for the OGs in this space, an 80% drawdown in Bitcoin is something that is usual. It's not
Very
something
normal.
that's out of the blue. And it's very unfortunate that during this drawdown we had a lot of liquidity crises. We've had a lot of platforms go down, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. Obviously, people got wrecked, but we need to
Because they're
also
trying to be banks. They're trying to all
exactly.
turn into they had the banking mentality of we want to borrow from this one so that we can lend here, so we can lend here, we can take money in, and we're going to give you percentage of it back out of
Yeah,
nothing. It's like that doesn't work. If you're gonna
yeah.
do if you're gonna do real custodianship, you need an account that is yours, that is somebody's holding it for you, that maybe even has insurance on it, stuff like that. So
You know,
doing it and those other ones, like that's just like playing with fire, man. You might work for a
yeah.
little while, but that's playing with fire.
Absolutely. You have to be careful. I mean, if the whole basis of cryptocurrency is to be your own bank and to really take
Yep.
control of your funds. And if you did, use something where you had to give up your keys, then you had to, obviously adjust to your risk. And I think a lot of people maybe just got too comfortable. And even when there were warning signs, people were just still, again, maybe a little too comfortable and being like, no, I'm secure. My funds are safe. I've been getting, X amount of interest for this X amount of time. And it's worked, but that's the risk you take when you don't
Yeah,
have your own keys,
this is true, and this
unfortunately.
is I learned that lesson earlier on, as we kind of talked about a minute ago. I've had hard drives die way back when with thousands of Bitcoin on them. That this is before
Horrible.
there was ever any seed words. So yes, I understand that very personally when you don't hold it, and that's kind of what with my mentality around these other platforms is like, if it's not your keys, it's not your coins. It really, really plays very, very deep in my heart for that, because that's why I'm big about the Divi wallet and stuff like what they do with their stuff. It's all custodial. It's got a decentralized exchange, and they have the fiat on and off ramp. There's not a wallet that's self custody that does that I know of. Not with the ease of use that Divi has. Those are extremely important things to remember. And the whole be your own bank thing, adults realize that you got to take responsibility for your money, right? You got to
Yeah.
understand that this is real life, and when you're in a freely traded market where there's very little manipulation, and then there's even less regulation, you got to be very, very smart and be very, very careful with what you have. So it's a fun time to be alive, to be honest, just to watch
Yeah.
this kind of stuff happen.
This is history.
It
Whether we
is
acknowledge it or not, this is history. We are literally watching history in the making, and we're still extremely early. We're extremely, extremely early. I just
very,
posted a video this morning about, a person I met that worked at the NTA. While I was on Wall Street, I was interviewing him, and people still are trying to transact with fiat dollars and not really, talking about inflation or realizing inflation. So it's just like, if maybe people aren't really into inflation and that type of getting even to that surface level of economics. Like, we have a long way to go before people truly understand Bitcoin. I mean, a lot of people don't even transact digitally yet. So,
nope.
there's still people writing checks, which is insane. I've never written a check in my life, but still people are writing checks. People are using, money transfers and trying to transact internationally, which is like, the fees are
It is insane.
astronomical. So
It's
just
insane.
that Bitcoin alone solves, but
Yeah,
whatever.
that
Who are
that
we?
alone. Yeah. So no. So to take to that point, you got your generation, whatnot. Like, I have siblings that are in that in same
Yeah.
range, right? And talking to them, they're like, I don't like banks. I'm never gonna touch the bank if I can help it. And they're working every way possible to get 100% of their income being in crypto and living a crypto life. And that's something I know that is, like you just mentioned, you've never written a check. I'm like, well, yeah, that's the next generation. These banks are gone anyways. I mean, they're done. They know it. The writing's on the wall. Like, you yourself are sitting here saying, like, you don't want anything to do with the banks. Other people don't want anything to do with the bank because they've ruined lives. They've stolen so much money. And at the same time, it's like they served a purpose, but the purpose was ultimately to serve themselves. There was never this freedom, like interaction, like you take responsibility for your actions with your money, and you take responsibility with your actions with your money. And then
Yeah.
you got, that's our job to push the adoption. It's our job to push that. And I love it that you're out there talking to people every day,
Thank you.
strangers, asking the questions like you do. It's fantastic. It's always fun to watch them when they come across whatever feed, and it's the sometimes the people are just straight up surprised, and sometimes they're like they get it a little bit
Yeah.
they get it. Yeah, it's actually kind of cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun to talk to people on the streets because you just kind of step out of that bubble where we're in every day. We're just constantly talking about Bitcoin. We're talking to Bitcoin people, NFT people all day, every day on Twitter. But we sometimes don't step outside and be like, okay, so what is everyone else thinking? Where is everyone else at? So that's why I really like doing those interviews, just to see where the mainstream's at. And I think the video I posted this morning was a perfect example of where the mainstream is at. Like, people can't even conceptualize just straight up digitally transacting, never mind completely ditching the maybe fiat currency altogether, and just realizing that economic effect that's having, whether that's inflation, having the accessibility to your funds that's not the same.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, I don't know if you've had this problem, but Maddie Sats, I did a stream, I think last week, 2 weeks ago, with Maddie Greenspan. Then Maddie Sats popped on as a surprise guest, and he was talking about how he has two different bank accounts, but they're his bank accounts. Like, it was like his savings and his checking or something like that. And he was trying to move $500 from one to the other, but he couldn't do that without a 48-hour waiting period. But if he would
Wow.
spend the money from that card, it would go through, but he couldn't go from account to account. It's just like, you're not
And
able
the
to move the
internal
money.
bank too.
Yeah, and
Wow.
you're not able to transact the way you want to transact within your own account. So, like, right off the bat, that's telling you something. I
Sure.
mean, That's why
It,
Bitcoin is just like one example.
right, right. Bitcoin, Litecoin, you got Ethereum. I
Ooh.
think a lot of people get this stuff mixed up. Like when you think about Ethereum or like Polygon or like any of the EVM style blockchains, they're
Mhm.
not realizing that there is a money version and then there is a business version of this environment. And people are starting to
That's true.
realize that the new technology businesses are being built inside of the blockchains, and they're not recognizing that the tokens, from an IT perspective, tokens, we have public and private keys inside of the regular networks. And this is very, very similar with those public and private keys. It is a handshake. It is a way of proving that you own the coins or the transactions, etc. They are very, very intertwined. And people, when they don't realize that there are companies building, solving problems on these blockchains like Ethereum, like Polygon, like anything that's an EVM, and then you've got things like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte.
Ooh.
I want to say even Dash, I think, Divi, stuff like that. Those are all going to be tokens that are more for means of exchanges. I think
I could
Bitcoin,
agree with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when it comes down to it, the smart contracts is going to be the automation of tomorrow. It's kind of when a good segue into
I
talking
really
about the
like that.
yeah, it is. It's going to be the automation of tomorrow. Realistically, in today, like you and I mentioned before, like I am in the process of working on different projects, and yeah, the automation is going to be tomorrow. It's going to all be a smart contract. Their
That's
little
great.
bitty AI is running on a blockchain. Let's call it. Let's look at it that way.
That's amazing. Just the innovation that's happening. It's great. And you know, I mean, you've been in the space since 2011. You've seen it pretty much since the start.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. So watching it grow up and watching the different projects, I'm like, yeah, I have rules of thumb that I go by whenever I look at from anything from an investment standpoint, but I also, from a technological advancement standpoint, look at it as well. Like, what are you actually bringing to the table for the rest of the world to consume? Because there are going to be consumers consuming what you're building. If you're not building anything for people to consume, then there's no point in putting any money in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is kind of like for me with NFTs. I haven't really dabbled so much in the NFTs. I know you're really big with the NFT stuff, and like I've mentioned before, like artists need to be rewarded for their stuff. It makes complete sense for this to be done when it comes to the art and the music and the videos and whatnot.
100%.
But what do you think the next phase is? Because I have a hunch. You've mentioned it before, but I have an idea around what's going to happen around what's going to be taking place with that next.
There's so many ways NFTs can go. The possibilities are absolutely limitless. I mean, for example, I have, you know, my NFT drop. I can actually put it in the chat right now. My NFT drop today with Ajay Tunes, basically just putting out, you know, little pieces of art that people can collect, give, like, you know, I give away a lot of NFTs. So there, it could be a reward. It could be a coupon book.
Mhm.
Like I know Costco, BJ's, they're still sending you paper coupons to your door. Like that's so like
Fun.
2003, man, like magazines,
Yeah.
like we're done with that. We're basically, why can't I just go on an NFT marketplace, buy my 1 year membership, stake it, or maybe just hold that in my wallet and just receive airdrops every so often whenever they want to send me a coupon. I could go to Costco or BJ's, redeem it, and then burn the NFT and get my free stuff. You know, I just feel like that's just one example. You know, birth certificates. My high school diploma should have been an NFT to verify I actually graduated high school. There's no better way to verify your life and the things you've done than to put it on the blockchain, something that's immutable. You know, that's what I care about. Maybe even social security numbers are going to end up being NFTs. Simple transactions, a piece of jewelry, this microphone right here. I mean, what I think should be something. I bought an Xbox controller. I got it last week, so that way I could plug it into my computer, play some Web3 games, and it came with a piece of paper that had a code on it for a trial of free games or to redeem a free game. Why can't that be an NFT? Why isn't that on the blockchain? Like I created my new wallet today. I now got this certain amount of tokens that I can now use in these games. Even, you know, game ownership, owning a skin instead of paying to play, just paying and putting money into a
Yep.
game ecosystem and not expecting anything in return except the utility that maybe that weapon or skin offers within the game. Now I could sell that for real world value, trade it with my friends for something different without violating terms of service and actually entering a free economy. So
Sure.
there's just so much.
Sure, sure, sure. Especially like the play to earn stuff. That is a big thing that's coming into the spaces
Big.
now. Like I've got little kids and whatnot, and they're starting to do the different things like with Fortnite and with they're very big into Minecraft. Like they can make some pretty impressive stuff with Minecraft. And I know that there's different things
Beautiful.
going around. Mutual friends of ours working on some projects that are Minecraft based, but all NFT inside of the metaverse. Very cool stuff where you can actually go and build and learn and code and all these different things from that standpoint. It's actually a fantastic way of, from an educational standpoint alone, to be able to go do that. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So you're
Yeah.
talking about that kind of stuff. From my point of view, I think those all make very big sense. But I think the next big, we'll call it boom or big wave, if you will, for NFTs is going to be buying and selling a home, buying and selling a
Mm,
car, real estate. Those are going to be
heck yeah.
very big things, I think, when it comes to NFTs. Look at Proppy. I don't know if you're familiar with the project, but they are a NFT based real estate company. They actually will you can buy and sell your homes via NFT already. It's being
It's
done.
awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
So if you do that, and then there's also I think Milo credit where you can do 100% loan to value for a home for your crypto. So you post collateral. It's a 100% collateral based loan, but you can once you start paying the house down, you get some of your collateral back or pay off the house kind of thing if it's enough collateral kind of stuff. It's very unique way of doing things. It's very different. It's kind of going back to the older way of doing things
Yeah.
where you have the money. If you want to not use your money or get your money back at the end of the day, you would post it as collateral, get your loan, buy your house or whatever you're going to buy. And then as you paid that off with whatever currency, you would get your collateral back and you'd end up with the other whatever you were purchasing at the end of the day. And that is an older way of doing it prior to whenever we got to the centralized banking world of stuff. That's kind of what they used to do. So that is a big one. I think also medical records for NFTs makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
have HIPAA laws and whatnot, well, guess what? You put it in a blockchain, and that is a locked NFT that whenever the hospital needs to access your medical records, you get a push notification to your phone. Do you have access? Yes or no? For how much time? Because once you, and time is a big deal. Once you give them access to it, once you sign that piece of paper, it's indefinite. There is no end date. They can always pull it up. So if they have their systems ever get hacked or anything stupid like that, somebody can go in and find all of your information, anything they want to
Yeah.
about you.
That's horrible.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
NFTs
There's a
make a
lot of
lot of sense.
vulnerabilities there. That's
They make
scary.
a lot. Yes, NFTs make a lot of sense in a lot of ways. I think that some of the big booms are going to be in those couple different spaces right there.
Yeah. I mean, think about, a musician or an actor.
Yep.
There's a ton of actors. I won't like name drop this one actress, but she recently came out. She is in one of the top TV shows, number 2 right now. She's very well known, very famous, but
Mm-hmm.
she can't afford to do anything because her someone takes 10% of this, her
Yep.
publicist 5% of that.
Yep. Yep.
So by the end of the day, she's really not making anything. But if her time was posted as, let's say, an NFT, where a production company could buy her NFT for a certain amount of time, that says, okay, I can do A, B, and C for you if you purchase this NFT, then that way she gets 100% of the proceeds, and she gets to do her job. And it's on the blockchain, so it's certified. Like, this is cut and dry what's happening. So there's no in between. So I just feel like that's a great way it could work. And even, musicians just being able to cut out the record label and put out their albums, and people could directly support them. And if they sell their songs, they always get those royalties.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just cuts out a lot of the third parties.
Yep.
Like, I feel like really destroying some people.
Yes, that's kind of where it goes back to the whole point of having Bitcoin. The whole point of having Litecoin is because it cuts the banks out, because it cuts the middleman out, and you can send I don't know $1 billion across the world
Seconds.
in seconds, and it costs a
Seconds.
fraction of what it would cost. Like, oh my goodness, it's actually
It's a
pretty
beautiful
impressive.
thing, man. A beautiful thing.
So, what do you think? How do you see adoption taking place around the world within your peers? Is that we see it starting to take place in these other bigger realms with the technology and whatnot, but within your peers and like folks that are in your approximate age group, like what are you seeing the adoption taking place from them?
I think it's already happening. A lot of us are transacting digitally already. I know I don't want to carry my wallet anymore. I really don't. If I forget my wallet, I have tap and pay. You know what I mean? And that if you have
I hear it all
Litecoin,
the
you
time.
can hook it up to your Litecoin card, just tap and pay with that and spend your Litecoin. So I'm already past carrying a wallet. I'm done with that. I feel like my generation feels the same way. I really don't know anyone that's carrying a wallet anymore. If you could just cash app your friend, tap and pay at McDonald's, that's all you really need to care about. And we care about the instant gratification. We're not sitting there at the store handing a $20 bill waiting for all of our change that kids are throwing out pennies. We want that instant transaction. We just want to tap, we want to leave, scan a QR code, leave. And that's right off the bat. That's where Gen Z really likes Bitcoin, and especially the fact that they could also take part in this economy and kind of create their own business. I mean, there's a ton of 14-year-olds on Twitter that came out with an NFT collection, sold out, and now they're just making headway in this space just because they're able to do it. They're able to be their own store, be their own bank, be their own business just because of this technology. So I think it's really going to progress, ingenuity. I think it's really going to, especially for kids that are coding now,
Yeah.
there are kids that, there's this wall, a code wall on homework websites where you can't see the answers. These kids are like looping around that and coding
Yeah.
where they can just
It,
unveil the answers and
yeah.
not have to do their homework. Well, imagine what
Yeah.
they could do on the blockchain and create all of these games, all of these dApps that they could use for their daily lives to make things easier. So I just think that there's so many things. I'm surprised teachers aren't integrating this already and just giving, their students a certain amount of tokens. If you have 100, if you have 100 class tokens, you could get a homework pass for this weekend. That's just where I see a lot of these things going.
That's pretty fantastic. I hadn't thought about some of that stuff. That would be very interesting. I know that, so we home educate our kids, but we're just about to the point to where we're going to start introducing some of that coding, some of the different pieces around what
That's
they,
great.
right. So a lot we very much, even from an earlier age, started teaching them about how taxation really works, how, what money is and how to do stuff. Like my son, he wants to do extra work around the house. He doesn't want to do it for dollars. He's like, Dad, how much divvy would you pay me to go and do whatever, like wash the truck or something?
That's amazing.
And, I'll tell him and whatnot. He's like, oh, that's crazy. And I'm like, well, that's only about $10 in US dollars. He's like, so when divvy hits $1, when divvy hits $10, that's going to be a ton of money. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So he's looking at it and thinking. Also, the cool part about divvy is that he recognizes that he can stake what he gets and earn a
Yes,
percentage back while he's not working at all. And that's something that no one learns in schools and whatnot. And that's
I
something
didn't.
quite, yeah, yeah. So
I didn't learn anything.
yeah, well, obviously you're picking up stuff now, and you're going like,
Yeah.
this is how this stuff works now.
I learned about finance on crypto Twitter. I'm like not even joking. That's how I learned
Nice.
like everything. Well, besides my dad who's been in the space for 6 years, but I really learned about like economics and things like that through crypto Twitter and just listening to everybody and then just starting to pick up like CNBC and what they're talking about. But Bitcoin taught me a lot about economics, finance that I would have never learned if I didn't have Bitcoin.
If
God knows where I'd be right now.
if you have time, do you like to read at all?
Sometimes, yeah.
If you have time, go. I talk about this on my shows and whatnot. Read The Creature from Jekyll Island. It'll
Oh, I heard of
turn
that one.
your financial world on its end, if you will. Yeah, it will make you kind of go, wow. And then read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
I heard that one
Yep.
too. I heard that's
Take
a really
those
good one.
two. You'll read the one, you go, okay, things aren't what they seem when it comes to anything money. And you already kind of get that. But the Rich Dad Poor Dad mentality around building residual income streams, making
Yeah.
yourself economically independent, meaning you can not have to necessarily worry about needing to go get any kind of regular job. You can just simply work yourself into a position where your assets pay you. It's kind of a very different mentality around stuff. So throw those out there to your peers, because those are for sure ones that people, when your generation, the generation following you, and even my generation and whatnot, like, start to recognize that the things around us when it comes to stuff and how important Bitcoin and Litecoin and anything blockchain based is, it's going to fundamentally, like, whenever I was doing this stuff, that's what it was just like, it fundamentally changed my mindset on how the world works. And then when you introduce blockchains, like, wow, okay, wait a minute. We can change our outcome. We can change the trajectory that we're going. We don't have to do these things as much anymore. And I love that. I love that about it.
Me too. Me too. Freedom. Woo.
Indeed. Freedom for humanity. I was going to ask you, What are you excited about in the coming months and years when it comes to anything blockchain, crypto, whatever, NFT?
Ooh, this is a spicy one because there's so much.
Yes.
I'm really excited for people to start transacting more in crypto and for their daily things, right? And I think this is something that is going to spark a huge debate because, El Salvador adopting
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin as legal tender, people using Lightning over there, like, pa, pa, pa. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's great. But there's also like this kind of narrative that's split with Bitcoin and how to handle that asset. Do you hold Bitcoin? Like a lot of people are preaching, hodl, hodl, hodl. Or are we trying to spend it and use it as currency? And where are the majority of people going to go? I think maybe a lot of people might want to hodl their Bitcoin. So if that's the case, then what's the next one that people are going to use to transact? I think that's the next big question we're going to have to uncover. That's what I've been preaching to a lot of people. What are you going to use as currency? So I
It's a
think a
good
lot more people are
question.
going to spend. And
I
I'm
think
very excited.
I think a lot of people will recognize it makes sense to me being in this space for so long because when Charlie Lee created Litecoin, it was a fork of Bitcoin from a technology. They literally took the code, split it off, and it created Litecoin. And it makes a lot of sense to do that as a means of exchange. But I think that the HODL piece, the HODL conversation that happens a lot, has to do with people looking at Bitcoin as a store of value or a transfer of large value. I think that at one point in the future, you'll see nations settling debts between each other with Bitcoin. But something like Litecoin, it may not be Litecoin. It may be some flavor of it. It may be Divi. I mean, I don't know. It could be anything that makes sense as a token or a means of exchange. And I think that the whole conversation, everyone, I get asked a lot about CBDCs,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, they're going to track everything you do. And while Bitcoin is public and they can trace what you're doing, it's still not 100%. Has
They
some
can't
layer of
control it.
right. They cannot control it, but they can control the CBDCs. So I
Yeah.
think that what your question, just spot on. What's coming next for that? What's going to
I
be the means of exchange?
So yeah, you put me on the spot here, but I do think I would use Litecoin to transact. I think it's extremely fast, maybe even Digi as well.
Yeah.
Digi is extremely, extremely fast. That was one of the things I was playing around with when I first got into crypto. Was Digibyte, just going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
sending it to my sister, my dad, and it was just so fast. Same with Litecoin. It's just something that's cheap, something that's easy,
Yep.
convenient. The thing is, why I pose this question to a lot of people is because I don't think the accessibility to your funds is really going to be there for that much longer. I've personally been
Yeah.
seeing a lot of banks close down in
Look
my
at China.
neighborhood, just banks going left and right, disappearing,
Really?
disappearing.
Okay.
Yes, I think it was like a dime in my neighborhood is now a physical therapy place. There was another bank, like I think it was HSBC that closed, another TD bank that closed. There's just
Wow.
locations going left and right, and people's safety deposit boxes have no guarantee, which is another whole
No, that's a
story.
bad idea.
So,
Don't do that.
you know, there's just so many things that are going into this. I don't know if we're going to have accessibility to fiat. And then once the accessibility to fiat goes down, then that's maybe when they're going to come in with maybe something like a CBDC and say, hey, we're going to be transacting digitally from now on. This is your new wallet.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're going to have that clash. Okay, so what are we going to use now? We have to use crypto. So if you don't want to use a CBDC and you want to use Bitcoin, Litecoin, Divi, Dash, Digi, what is it going to be? What are you going to use? What's feasible? And that's why I pose that question a lot. I just don't think our accessibility to our funds are going to be there for that long. And a lot of people are saying, no, that's not true. We're always have. I don't think so.
No, you really.
We're seeing it diminish. I'm seeing banks close. So, and a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't accepting cash anymore. I think one country yesterday, I don't know why I'm blanking on it, banned cash payments. So like what happens next? You know what I mean? We need
Yeah.
crypto to step in and we need to stop being afraid and start transacting. Start
Well,
transacting person to person.
the thing is that I don't even. There you go. I was gonna say, crypto doesn't need to step in. People just need to start going. Okay, crypto is a means of exchange in general.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
going to end up becoming the means of exchange. That is a very, very. If you do you follow Bix Weir at all? He talks a lot about Litecoin.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, you check him out. He does a lot about Litecoin, a lot about that kind of stuff. Wherever you have a big, big means of exchange, and he does. He actually wrote songs about it. It's very, very fascinating. But
yeah, and even they, Clint in the chat making a good point. We have MWeb now with Litecoin, which is absolutely
yeah,
amazing. I can't wait till wallets start integrating this, because I've been telling people about MWeb for a long time as well. This is going to change a lot of lives.
yeah,
Just because Bitcoin, regular Litecoin, you see every
you see the
transaction, what's
transactions.
in our wallets.
Yep.
We can't have that, like as Charlie said on my show, that's not good for sound money. So
Nope.
you need to
Wimble's a
be,
big deal.
oh,
It's a very big deal.
ugh,
Yeah,
Charlie.
Digibyte's another one. I didn't. Jared Tate needs. I would love it if he did some more marketing around it because it's huge.
Yeah,
Those other things are big, big
yeah,
deals.
we need Digi to get more listings. Like I can't, like I can't get Digi in New York.
Really? You can't
Yeah.
even do it on like a decentralized exchange,
Um,
like on a swap or something.
a lot of the swaps see where I'm at, and they say no.
Eh,
So
eh,
I mean,
eh.
I don't know if I could really say on camera how we could really get around this without getting in
Yep,
trouble.
yep,
But at the
yep,
same time,
yep.
yeah,
Let's refrain from that.
yeah. But I think there are maybe a few ways, but it's not on Coinbase or anything like that. Which I hope it does soon. Wax. I hope that gets on Coinbase. There's just
I think
the truth.
Coinbase, if they're not careful, they're going to end up. So my personal opinion is all the centralized exchanges need to go away. Something like what Divi
I
just built with their wallet is not. No one's done it yet. Like where you can actually take a credit card, a debit card, or a bank account ACH, and actually move your stuff into straight into the crypto inside the wallet. It's also your
That's good.
the whole not your keys, not your coins, your self custody at that point in time. The moment you buy it, your self custody. You don't do that with Coinbase. You wait for them, and it takes forever. And then you wait for them to send it to wherever, and it takes forever. And it's one of those things where you gotta learn to take custody of your own stuff. And I think that gives everyone that ability. If more wallets integrated that type of mentality or that ability, I think you would see a lot more adoption, especially from the OGs in this space. Like they hodl because they know what's coming. You hold on
Yeah.
to what you have because you know it's coming. You do spend some, I spend some. It just depends on what it is, but
Yeah.
it makes a lot more sense. So
Yeah, I'm done, using dollars. I haven't valued dollars for a long time, just because once I, really got into Bitcoin and, crypto, I saw that, that's how I'm going to value things from now on, because that's what really is holding its value, what's holding true and appreciating, versus, I've seen the dollar go down, as we were talking about before the show. They printed 80% of the monetary supply over the last few years. And I've seen as a teenager that my dollars are not going as far as they used to. I can't, $1 pizza in New York is like now $1.50, $2 pizza. We have, a chocolate bar that you can't even buy for $1 now. So, it's only a matter of time before Arizona iced tea is above 99 cents, guys. And once that happens, we're really down bad.
I
Really
love
down
Arizona
bad.
iced tea. Their stuff's great. They came out and said they were not going to do it. They were just gonna take care of their customers at the end of the day, and that this would pass. But if they do, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble. I mean, if I go to restaurants and the price of like chicken wings, let's say, is more than double. I've
Mm-hmm.
been talking to a lot of restaurant owners in my neighborhood. Their bills have 3x. So I don't know. I know inflation, whatever, is supposedly 9%, but a lot of people are telling me their stuff has tripled. I've seen groceries
It's a
triple.
lot
I've seen a
more
lot
than
of
that.
things triple. So
I
it's
don't
a
know
little
if they get this
scary.
9% number because if you go look at the actual number line by line, it's like even if you added all those up and then divided it by the lines, it still doesn't give you nine. Like, where did the 9% come from?
I have no I couldn't tell you. I don't, because I know a lot of people are like, well, they stop counting this, they stop counting that, just to, I don't know. It's
The
what
term
I'm saying is,
inflation or recession's now changed. It's like, come on, guys.
listen, all I know is that my dollar isn't going as far, and I
Yeah.
want something that respects my time, my value, and my energy, and that is cryptocurrency, whether that's Bitcoin or Litecoin, something that has a definite supply,
Yep.
something that works, that does
Yep.
not go down.
Yep.
Litecoin's never been down, that
Yep.
which is beautiful. So you know what I mean? Like, we need something that we could rely on. And as Gen Z, I need something that's fast, that's quick, that's cheap, that's reliable, and not and censorship resistant. So that's where
That
my
is
thing comes in.
that is fantastic to hear you say that because a lot of people coming up into this space, you guys are historically speaking, like you've got once you exit high school, you enter certain types of jobs, and then you enter certain types of careers, and then families and all that fun stuff happen and whatnot. And then those types of things take place. But you guys are now sitting there going, well, wait a minute, we can go make money doing something entirely different. And we don't want
Exactly.
those dollars. And it's fantastic to watch that shift
Yes.
take place because you guys are shifting yourselves into a freedom mindset in general, just across the
Yeah.
board. And I love it.
Yeah, I've had to work like a 9 to 5 before. I was working part-time for a few years, and even like during the summer, the last 2 summers, not currently, but I was working that 9 to 5, and I experienced like working really hard and not really getting your time valued, whether that's the salary, which I was making minimum wage, and just like and I saw the inflation, and I was like, I'm still making the same amount I did last year, yet my paycheck isn't going nearly as far as it did.
So it's a pay cut.
Exactly. So it wasn't just the pay, but it was like I saw the time that I put into that, and just like it just wasn't all adding up for me, and I really wanted to do something different. And I saw that maybe like the 9 to 5 wasn't for me, and like I always wanted to do this. Like I was still doing this, I was multitasking this
Sure.
and that at the same time in school because I was graduating. So it was a lot, but at the same
I
time I felt like
understand
I
that.
really wanted to go and do something different and change like the world. So I really want to get people into crypto and try to bring a whole generation in, which is crazy, which sounds really nuts, but like I really wanted to do that. But bottom line, I did see working that 9 to 5, what that's like for a few years, and truly understanding like how far like people work for their entire lives, 20 plus years, to provide for their families, and just in the last year and a half their value went down god knows how much.
A
And
lot.
like where, and now maybe like they can't really get by, and they're saving, like people are blowing their savings to make up for this, when we've had Bitcoin, Litecoin, but the adoption wasn't there. People just don't know about it yet. So that's like why we have to keep pushing and
Yep.
pushing and try to like help people come in and just realize like there is another way to save your value and preserve your time and your energy and what you put into this life.
The thing is that time is the only asset you can't make more of. You're only going to get
I
so much
agree.
time. And once you're done with that time, you're done. You cannot make more. You can't go backwards in time. You cannot take another second back. Every second that passes, that's gone forever. You can always make more money. You can always build new friends. You can always buy a new house. You can always move somewhere else, etc., etc. You can never make more time. And that
Yeah.
is very, very important for people to realize when it comes to this stuff. Where's your value at? Where is your monetary aspect? You're trading your life for money. Well, if that money's not really worth anything, what are you doing? And that's where crypto is a big
It's
deal.
so sad. Like it's horrible. It's horrible. Like people are barely making it by now just because like the inflation is outpacing paychecks. And then, like it's not like wages are increasing.
They're
And
not.
then and it's like, even if minimum wage, like let's say minimum wage was forced to increase, these businesses probably can't even pay it because they're not making anything, because the whole circle of economy
Yeah.
life is messed up right now. So
Yep.
it's like, where's the middle ground? And that's where I
Right
feel like
now,
it
it's
all
not.
goes kaplooey, right? Like it
Yeah.
all goes kaplooey, Joe, because what happens next? And that's why, again, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Litecoin, blockchain, that's where it needs to come in and just be like, hey guys, this is where we need to go next, and take control of our funds and take control of our future. And upload our videos on a censorship resistant platform, or like on something on a blockchain, or keep your images in some sort of like decrypted, like decentralized cloud, which I know Pac was working on. I was hearing about that a while back, not sure where they're at with that now, but I do know there's answers out here, and we're still developing, which is the great thing. We're still extremely early. In the next year, we're going to be laughing at the stuff we're talking about now. So it's just
Yes,
like,
we are.
we have so much room to grow, but at the same time, we need to just keep pushing and enter crypto, exit fiat. Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of the way it works. And you are a thought leader, especially in your age group and your peers. Like, you are a leader in this space. So carry that mantle proudly and enjoy it, because and just know that people are going to end up following the leader. They always do. And if you're the leader, they're going to follow what you do and what you say. So I'm fantastically impressed with what you've been doing. I really do appreciate all that you've been doing. And thanks for coming on the show today. It does mean a lot to me that you're here, for sure.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. Like, I knew once we met in person, bro, I was like, that's it. Like, we're friends. Like,
Yep.
you're really cool. And like, you just have like a really chill vibe. I really love your energy. I feel like, like this past, like, whatever, I don't even know. I think we've been hanging out for like an hour now. I've been having a
Just
great
about, yeah.
time just talking and hanging out with you and just having like a nice fireside chat. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really done with all the fuck and the negative energy out there. So it was like
Yeah,
really
man.
like refreshing to come and just have like a nice conversation with you, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No,
And the
I
chat, you
appreciate.
guys are cool too.
Yes, everyone in the live chat. I usually pop everyone over at the end, but today we're gonna not, because it's been a fantastic. You guys have been having a great time. It looks like, holy cow.
Yeah, there's so
I
much
love
love.
it.
I need to put hearts in there too. Oh, did I put my free NFT in there?
I thought you did.
Oh, good. Let me
Someone
make
pointed it
sure.
out. Maybe drop it again.
Guys, I'm gonna drop it again just in case. I don't remember if I did it. Here's a free NFT if I didn't drop it already. But yeah, I'm also gonna be live later giving away more NFTs too. So if you miss out on this one, don't worry.
So do me a favor real quick, for those in my group who don't know who you are. Throw out all your ways of getting hold of you or seeing your socials, your videos, and whatnot.
You can find everything I'm talking about on missteencrypto.com, whether that's my NFTs, my social links, my about section, any clips you would like to see of me. If you guys want to give me a follow, I'm at missteencrypto on every platform you could think of, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/missteencrypto. I go live with the Miss Teen Crypto Show 1 to 4 times a week, any given amount of times. And if I have a guest, I will go live and talk with them. I give away NFTs. I'm going to have a great show today with Schnazzy from Wax Blockchain. We're going to give away a ton of NFTs, going to give away some wax. So watch out for when that live stream goes live on Twitter. Yeah, very much subscribe. I put out educational content. I do a lot of on the street interviews with strangers. And yeah, just please give me a follow and spread good loves. And as always, stay zesty. That's what I like to say.
Indeed. Well, Miss Teen Crypto, thank you
Thank
for
you
being
for
part of the
having me.
show. And we'll duck out here real quick, and then I'll be right back.
Woo!